Ambassador Kang Day stood on the bridge of the human ship Soul's Pride and looked out at the massive alien space station floating in the darkness ahead. The station was bigger than any city on Earth and glowed with strange blue lights that pulsed, like a heartbeat. Captain Nam Hai stood beside him, watching the alien ships move around the station like busy insects around a hive. "They are waiting for us," Nam Hai said quietly. 12 different alien races all in one place. Hard to believe we are really here. Kang Day nodded slowly. 3 months ago, humans had invented faster-than-light travel and sent out their first exploration ships. Within weeks, they had been contacted by something called the Galactic Council. The aliens had been polite but cold in their messages. They wanted to meet with human representatives to discuss Earth joining their group of civilized worlds. Dr. Park Bo walked up to them, carrying a tablet full of notes about alien behavior. The scans show at least 50 different ship designs around that station. Each race seems to have their own style of building. The reptilian ones make ships that look like giant snakes. The insect people build everything in perfect geometric shapes. "What about their weapons?" Nam Hai asked. "Old-fashioned energy beams mostly. Some kind of plasma cannons. Nothing we have not seen in our own research. Actually, our defensive systems might be better than theirs." Kang Day found that interesting but did not say anything. The humans had agreed to come here as students wanting to learn from advanced aliens. It would not be wise to seem too confident about their own technology. A message came through on the communication system. The voice was strange and mechanical. "Human vessel Soul's Pride. You are cleared to dock at Bay 774. Follow the guide ships and do not deviate from the assigned path." 3 small alien ships appeared and began leading them toward the massive station. As they got closer, Kang Day could see that the station was even bigger than he had thought. "Millions of beings must live and work inside it. Remember, everyone," Kang Day said to his team over the intercom. "We are here to learn and make friends. Act humble and interested in everything they show us. Do not mention our military capabilities unless they ask directly." The docking bay was enormous. Hundreds of different alien ships were parked in neat rows. Some looked like metal birds with swept-back wings. Others were perfect spheres covered in spikes. A few looked almost like human designs, but with strange twists and curves. As soon as Soul's Pride was secured in its docking clamp, a group of aliens came walking across the bay toward their ship. Kang Day had seen pictures of some alien races, but meeting them in person was still shocking. The lead alien was tall and thin with gray skin and 4 arms. Behind it walked a creature that looked like a giant praying mantis, wearing robes. Third alien seemed to be made of pure light that barely held a humanoid shape. The tall gray one is Counselor Vextar from the Zaltharian Republic, Dr. Park Bo whispered as they prepared to leave the ship. The insect is from the Krillian Empire. The light being is called High Arbiter Quindal and leads the entire council. They met the aliens in the docking bay airlock. The air had a strange smell like flowers mixed with metal. High Arbiter Quindal spoke first, and its voice seemed to come from everywhere at once. "Welcome, humans, to Harmony's Reach. I am High Arbiter Quindal of the Galactic Council. We greet you as potential new members of our peaceful alliance." Kang Day bowed slightly. "Thank you for this honor, High Arbiter. I am Ambassador Kang Day, representing Earth and humanity. We are eager to learn from your wisdom and experience." Counselor Vexitar stepped forward. "Your species is very young, by galactic standards. Most races require several thousand years of space travel before they develop technology suitable for council membership. You have achieved faster-than-light travel remarkably quickly. We have always been fast learners," Kang Day replied carefully. The mantis-like alien made clicking sounds that Dr. Park Bo's translator said meant amusement. "Fast learning and actual understanding are different things, young human. Come. We will show you what real galactic civilization looks like." They were led through corridors that stretched for kilometers inside the station. The walls were covered with art from dozens of different worlds. Strange music played softly from hidden speakers. Thousands of aliens walked past them, going about their daily business. Most stopped to stare at the humans with curious expressions. "Your species will need to prove itself before gaining full membership," Vextar explained as they walked. "We have established protocols for evaluating new civilizations. These tests examine your technological capabilities, military strength, cultural development, and ability to cooperate with other species. What happens if we fail these tests? Namhai asked. Failure is not the correct word, High Arbiter Quindal said. Species that are not ready for full membership receive protected status. We provide guidance and assistance while limiting their expansion until they mature sufficiently. Dr. Park Bo made notes on his tablet. Kang Day noticed that the aliens' explanation sounded like they would put humans in a cage until the aliens decided they were ready for freedom. He kept his thoughts to himself. They arrived at a massive chamber with a curved ceiling that showed stars and nebulae. 12 different seats were arranged in a circle, with the largest and most ornate belonging to High Arbiter Quindal. Each seat was designed for a different alien species. This is where the Galactic Council makes all important decisions, Vexitar said proudly. For 3,000 years, we have maintained peace and prosperity across the galaxy. No wars, no conflicts, no unnecessary competition between species. How do you prevent conflicts? Kang Day asked. Simple. We control technology distribution, territorial expansion, and trade agreements. When all species follow the same rules and limitations, there is no reason for conflict. Captain Nam Hai looked around the chamber with interest. Who decides what the rules are? The Council, of course. We have thousands of years of experience. Younger species lack the wisdom to make such important decisions. Dr. Park Bo raised his hand like a student in school. What happened to species that disagreed with Council decisions? The aliens exchanged looks that seemed uncomfortable. High Arbiter Quindal answered after a long pause. Such situations are extremely rare. All civilized species eventually recognize the wisdom of Council guidance. Those that do not adapt typically isolate themselves and fade from galactic importance. Kang Day filed that information away for later consideration. It sounded like the Council had ways of dealing with species that did not cooperate. They spent the rest of the day touring different sections of the station. The aliens showed them museums full of artifacts from member species' cultural centers where different races mingled and massive computer systems that managed galactic trade and communication. Everything was impressive and clearly designed to overwhelm visiting species with the power and sophistication of the Council. During dinner in a restaurant that served food from dozens of different worlds, Vextar explained the evaluation process. You will have 1 galactic standard year to demonstrate your species' readiness for membership. We will test your technology through innovation challenges, your military through combat simulations, your culture through exchange programs, your diplomacy through negotiation exercises. What if we exceed your expectations? Kang Day asked innocently. The aliens laughed in their various ways. Clicking sounds from the Krelian, harmonic tones from High Arbiter Quindal, a rumbling noise from Vextar. Young species often have such confidence, Vexitar said condescendingly. The tests are based on thousands of years of experience with hundreds of different civilizations. They are designed to be challenging but fair. No species has ever exceeded our expectations significantly. We will do our best, Kang Day said humbly. As they returned to their ship that evening, Dr. Park Bo pulled Kang Day aside. Did you notice how surprised they were when I mentioned human adaptability rates during the cultural discussion? They kept asking questions about how quickly we learn new things. I noticed. What do you think it means? I think they are used to species that develop very slowly and predictably. They might not be prepared for how fast humans can change and improve. Captain Nam Hai joined them. Their military formations are interesting too, very rigid and traditional. I watched their patrol ships and they follow exact patterns with no variation. Makes them predictable. Kang Day looked back at the massive station glowing in space. Keep making observations, everyone. I have a feeling this evaluation will be more important than the aliens realize. For them and for us. The first test came 3 weeks after the humans arrived at Harmony's Reach. Counselor Vexitar led them to a massive laboratory complex where alien scientists worked on various projects. The air hummed with energy from dozens of different machines and devices. Your technological evaluation begins today, Vextar announced. Engineer Kim Soo will work with our science teams to demonstrate human understanding of galactic technology standards. Kim Soo was a small woman with quick hands and bright eyes who had spent years working on Earth's space program. She looked around the alien laboratory with obvious excitement. "What would you like me to work on?" A tall alien with blue skin and 3 eyes stepped forward. "I am Chief Scientist Velthar. We will present you with a series of technological challenges. First, you must repair this damaged power coupling using only standard galactic tools and materials." The alien handed Kim Soo a device that looked like a metal flower with burned petals. Similar devices throughout the galaxy powered everything from small tools to massive starships. Most new species required months of training to work with galactic technology. Kim Soo examined the device, carefully turning it over in her hands and looking at the damaged components. "The energy flow patterns are interesting, more efficient than our human designs, but the connection points are vulnerable to overload." She began working with tools that looked strange in her human hands. Within an hour, she had not only repaired the power coupling, but modified it to handle 30% more energy without overheating. The alien scientists gathered around her, workstation talking excitedly in their various languages. "How did you improve the design so quickly?" Velthar asked with surprise in his voice. "Human engineering approaches problems differently," Kim Soo explained. "We look for ways to make things better, not just fix what is broken. Your design is good, but it can be better." The second challenge involved creating a communication device that could translate between 5 different alien languages simultaneously. Most species needed specialized computer systems for such complex translation work. Kim Soo studied the alien language patterns for 2 hours, then built a simple device using spare parts from around the laboratory. When she tested the device, it not only translated the 5 required languages, but could handle 12 different alien communication methods, including the harmonic tones of energy beings and the chemical signals used by insect species. "Impossible," muttered a snake-like alien scientist. "That level of translation requires quantum processing arrays. You built it with basic components." "Humans are good at finding simple solutions to complex problems," Kim Soo said with a modest smile. By the end of the first week, Kim Soo had completed all the technological challenges and improved every alien device she had been asked to work with. The alien scientists began bringing her their most difficult problems, hoping she could find solutions that had escaped them for years. Meanwhile, Commander Lee Tae was facing his own evaluation in the military testing facilities. The Council had built elaborate training grounds where new species could demonstrate their combat capabilities against simulated threats. "Your first trial will be against Krillian battle formations," announced General Thokmar, a massive insect, warrior with scarred armor. "The Krillians have never lost a military simulation. Their tactics are perfect, and their discipline is absolute." Lee Tae studied the holographic display showing the simulated battlefield. The Krillian forces moved in precise geometric formations, with each unit supporting the others in a complex pattern of overlapping fire zones and defensive positions. "Very impressive," Lee Tae said politely. "How long do I have to prepare my response?" Preparation time is 15 minutes. Most species require several attempts to understand Krillian tactical superiority. Lee Tae used his 15 minutes to study the enemy patterns and identify their weaknesses. When the simulation began, his human forces moved in seemingly random directions that confused the watching aliens. Instead of meeting the Krillian formations head-on, Lee Tae's units spread out and attacked from unexpected angles. The human soldiers used psychological warfare, broadcasting loud music and chaotic signals that disrupted Krillian coordination. They employed rapid hit-and-run tactics that prevented the insect warriors from establishing their preferred defensive positions. Most importantly, they adapted their strategy constantly as the battle progressed. Within 2 hours, the mighty Krillian formations had been completely destroyed while human forces suffered minimal casualties. General Thokmar stared at the simulation results in disbelief. "This is not possible. Krillian tactics have been refined for thousands of years. They are mathematically perfect. Perfect against enemies who fight the way you expect," Lee Tae replied. "Humans do not always do what is expected." The third human representative, Dr. Choi Yeon, was working with the Council's diplomatic and cultural specialists. Her job was to demonstrate human understanding of interspecies relationships and galactic politics. Cultural evaluation is often the most difficult for new species, explained Ambassador Zexnall, a graceful alien with silver skin and large dark eyes. Understanding the complex relationships between 12 different civilizations requires years of study. Dr. Choi Yeon had been observing alien behavior patterns since arriving at the station. She noticed things that surprised the aliens themselves. The Krillians were not as aggressive as they pretended and actually feared conflict. The energy beings felt isolated from physical species and craved acceptance. The reptilian Zaltharanes were deeply insecure about their role in the Council. Each species in the Council has developed specific behaviors to hide their weaknesses from the others, Dr. Choi Yeon explained during her evaluation. The rigid structure of Council meetings is designed to prevent real communication that might reveal these insecurities. That is a very sophisticated analysis, Zexnall admitted. Most species require decades to understand such subtle political dynamics. Humans are naturally good at reading social situations. We had to be to survive on Earth with so many different cultures and governments. Dr. Choi Yeon went further and correctly predicted how different alien species would react to various hypothetical situations. She identified hidden tensions between Council members that even the aliens themselves had not fully recognized. Her insights were so accurate that several counselors began asking for her advice on their own internal political problems. The alien evaluators met privately after each day of testing. Their discussions grew more concerned as human performance continued to exceed all expectations. They are advancing too quickly, Vextar said during one private meeting. Most species show gradual improvement over months or years. These humans master new concepts in days or hours. Their technological innovations are particularly troubling, added Chief Scientist Velthar. Kim Soo understands principles that took our species centuries to develop. She is creating new technologies faster than our scientists can analyze them. Hi. Arbiter Quindal listened to the reports with growing unease. What about their military capabilities? General Thokmar shifted uncomfortably. Commander Lee Tae has defeated every simulation we have presented. His tactics are unlike anything in our databases. He seems to invent new strategies during combat. And their cultural understanding? Quindal asked. Ambassador Zexnall looked worried. Dr. Choi Yeon can predict our behavior better than we can predict our own. She understands the psychological weaknesses of each council species. Such knowledge could be used to manipulate interspecies relationships. The High Arbiter was quiet for a long moment. How long was their evaluation period supposed to last? 1 galactic standard year, Vextar replied. Extended indefinitely. Tell them we need more comprehensive testing. Meanwhile, I want detailed reports on human colony expansion activities and military development programs. You suspect they might be a threat? General Thokmar asked. I suspect they might be more than we can control. That makes them dangerous to galactic stability. Back in their quarters, the human team compared notes on their experiences. Kim Soo was excited about all the new technologies she had seen. Lee Tae was puzzled by the aliens' rigid thinking about warfare. Dr. Choi Yeon had troubling observations about council behavior. They are not telling us everything, she said quietly. The council members are afraid of something. Their questions about human expansion rates and population growth are too specific to be casual curiosity. I noticed something similar, Lee Tae added. Their military simulations are not really tests. They are intelligence-gathering operations. They want to know how humans fight so they can develop countermeasures. Kim Soo looked up from the alien device she was studying. The technology they have shown us is impressive but not advanced. I think they are deliberately holding back their best equipment. This whole evaluation might be a way to assess human capabilities while revealing as little as possible about their own. Ambassador Kang Dae had reached similar conclusions. I think we are being evaluated for more than membership. They are trying to decide if humans are safe to have in the galaxy. What do we do? Dr. Choi Yeon asked. We continue being helpful and humble, Kang Dae decided. But we also prepare for the possibility that this evaluation might not end the way we hoped. Captain Bae Won moved quietly through the maintenance tunnels of Harmony's Reach, carrying tools that made her look like a repair technician. Her real job was intelligence gathering for Earth's diplomatic mission, and what she had discovered in the past month made her stomach tight with worry. The Galactic Council had secret meeting rooms hidden deep inside the station where they discussed things they did not want recorded in official transcripts. Bei Wan had found ways to monitor these conversations, and the things she heard painted a very different picture of the Council than their public image suggested. The human expansion rate is unprecedented, Councillor Vextar was saying during one secret meeting. Their colonies are being established faster than any species in galactic history. At current rates, they will have settlements in over 100 star systems within 5 years. More concerning is their adaptation rate, added a voice Bei Wan, recognized as belonging to Councillor Mordak from the warlike Krillian Empire. They are thriving in environments that would challenge our most advanced terraforming technology. Desert worlds, ice planets, high radiation zones. Nothing seems to slow them down. A third voice belonged to someone Bei Wan had not heard before. It sounded ancient and tired. I have seen this pattern before, young counselors. 5,000 years ago, another species showed similar rapid advancement. The Void Hunters nearly destroyed galactic civilization before we stopped them. Counselor Zeftos speaks wisdom, High Arbiter Quindal said. The Void Hunters also exceeded all normal developmental patterns. Their technology advanced too quickly. Their expansion was too aggressive. Their military capabilities grew beyond acceptable limits. What happened to them? Mordak asked. We implemented containment protocols. Economic isolation, military pressure, technological restrictions. Eventually, they stagnated and faded from galactic importance. The galaxy became stable again. Bei Wan felt cold as she listened to this conversation. The Council was planning to do the same thing to humanity that they had done to other successful species. She needed to report this information immediately. Meanwhile, scientist Lim Hana was working in the Council's vast database archives, researching galactic history for humanity's cultural evaluation. What she found there made her question everything the Council had told them about galactic civilization. The official histories spoke of 12 species working together in peaceful cooperation for 3,000 years. But when Lim Hana dug deeper into older records, she found references to dozens of other spacefaring civilizations that had simply disappeared from the historical record. The Nexari Confederacy, she read from an ancient file. Technological advancement rate deemed excessive. Containment protocols implemented. Final status isolated and stagnant. Another file mentioned the Quantum Builders. Expansion rate beyond acceptable parameters. Military capabilities approaching threat level, subjected to economic restrictions and territorial limitations. Current status declined and irrelevant. A third file was even more direct. The Star Weavers demonstrated dangerous innovations in faster-than-light travel and energy manipulation. Full containment procedures authorized. Results successful. Species confined to home system with technology access restricted. Lim Hana realized she was looking at evidence of systematic suppression. The Galactic Council had not maintained peace through wisdom and cooperation. They had maintained it by crushing any species that became too successful or advanced too quickly. She cross-referenced the files and found a pattern. Every few centuries, a new species would join the galactic community and begin developing rapidly. When their advancement exceeded certain thresholds, the Council would implement what they called containment protocols. These involved economic sanctions, technological confiscation, military pressure, and territorial restrictions. The contained species would find themselves isolated from galactic trade, unable to expand beyond their existing colonies, and cut off from advanced technology. Within a few generations, they would stagnate and become dependent on Council assistance for basic needs. They are not running a galactic civilization, Lim Hana whispered to herself. They are running a galactic prison. Back on Earth, Admiral Yangjun was dealing with problems of his own. Reports from human colonies were raising questions about the Council's true intentions. Several new settlements had been visited by Council inspection teams who claimed to be conducting routine surveys of human expansion activities. The inspection teams are not what they seem, reported Captain Song Ji-won from the colony on Kepler Prime. They are taking detailed scans of our defensive installations, population centers, and industrial facilities. When I asked about it, they said it was standard procedure for new member species. Have other colonies experienced similar inspections? Yang Jun asked during a secure communication session. Yes, sir. New Terra reports Council ships mapping their entire system. The colony on Proxima Station says alien inspectors were asking, detailed questions about human reproduction rates and military training programs. Admiral Yang Jun reviewed the reports with growing concern. The Council was gathering intelligence on human settlements while providing very little information about their own capabilities. It felt like preparation for something hostile, rather than routine membership evaluation. He decided to conduct his own intelligence gathering and sent reconnaissance ships to observe Council territory. What they found was disturbing. The Council controlled vast regions of space, but most star systems within their territory showed signs of technological stagnation and limited development. The member species colonies all looked the same, reported the captain of the scout ship Discovery. Basic infrastructure, minimal industrial development, no evidence of technological innovation. It is like they stopped advancing centuries ago. What? About military installations? Yang Jun asked. Heavy Council fleet presence in every system. The member species have small defensive forces, but nothing that could challenge Council authority. It looks more like occupation than cooperation. Yang Jun shared this information with the diplomatic team on Harmony's reach through coded messages hidden in routine supply requests. The picture that emerged when all human intelligence was combined was deeply troubling. The Galactic Council was not the benevolent alliance of equals they pretended to be. They were a controlling empire that suppressed technological and cultural development among member species to maintain their own dominance. Any species that advanced too quickly or became too independent faced systematic containment until they were reduced to harmless dependency. Ambassador Kang Day called a secret meeting of the human team in a shielded chamber aboard Soul's Pride. Based on our intelligence gathering, it appears the Council views rapid human advancement as a threat to galactic stability. They have historical precedent for dealing with such threats through what they call containment protocols. Containment means isolation and technological suppression, Lim Hana explained. They have done it to at least 3 other species in the past 5,000 years. Those civilizations still exist, but they are shadows of what they once were. Dr. Choi Yeon looked grim. My behavioral analysis supports this conclusion. The Council members show classic signs of controlling personalities. They need to be the dominant authority in all relationships. They cannot tolerate equals-only subordinates. What about their military capabilities? Kang Day asked. Commander Lee Tae had been thinking about this question for weeks. Their simulation exercises are impressive, but their actual tactical thinking is rigid and predictable. They rely on overwhelming force rather than innovation. Against a prepared opponent using unconventional strategies, they would be vulnerable. Engineer Kim Soo had reached similar conclusions about Council technology. Their equipment is advanced, but standardized across all member species. No innovation, no experimentation, no development of new approaches. They stopped advancing technologically centuries ago because they stopped allowing competition and creative thinking. Captain Nam Hai spoke for all of them. So what do we do? If we continue the evaluation honestly, they will realize how advanced humans really are. If we fail deliberately, they will know we are hiding something. Kang Day considered their options carefully. We continue the evaluation, but we also prepare for the possibility that it will not end peacefully. Send coded messages to Earth warning Admiral Yang Jun about potential Council hostility. Tell him to accelerate defensive preparations for all human colonies. Are we talking about war? Dr. Choi Yeon asked quietly. We are talking about survival, Kang Day replied. The Council has maintained galactic stability for 3,000 years by preventing any species from becoming powerful enough to challenge their authority. Humanity's rapid advancement makes us a threat to that system whether we want to be or not. The humans continued their public cooperation with Council evaluation procedures while secretly preparing for conflict. They knew the Council would eventually realize that humanity could not be controlled through normal containment methods. When that moment came, the real test would begin. The galaxy was about to discover that humans were not like other species. They did not stagnate when faced with restrictions. They did not accept limitations imposed by others. They did not submit to authority that claimed to know what was best for them. The trap came without warning on a Tuesday morning while Ambassador Kang Day was reviewing cultural exchange reports in his quarters aboard Soul's Pride. High Arbiter Quinn Dahl appeared on his communication screen looking more serious than usual. Ambassador, Kang Day, please report to Council Chamber 1 immediately for an urgent security briefing. Bring all senior staff members. Something in the alien's tone made Kang Day's instincts scream danger, but he maintained his diplomatic composure. Of course, High Arbiter. We will be there within the hour. He quickly gathered his team and sent a coded message to Captain Nam. Hi. Prepare Soul's Pride for immediate departure if necessary. Monitor all Council ship movements and report anything unusual. When the humans arrived at the Council chamber, they found it filled with representatives from all 12 member species. The atmosphere was tense and formal rather than the usual friendly evaluation meetings. Counselor Vextar stood at the center of the room holding a data tablet. Recent intelligence assessments have raised concerns about human expansion activities and military development programs, Vextar announced without preliminary greetings. For galactic security, we are implementing emergency protocols under Section 7 of the Galactic Stability Agreement. What does that mean exactly? Kang Day asked, though he suspected he already knew. High Arbiter Quindale answered with mechanical precision. All human military vessels must report to designated Council facilities for standardization procedures. All advanced technology developed by humanity must be surrendered for safety evaluation. All human colonies beyond the Sol system must be relocated to approved settlement zones for proper integration. Dr. Choi Yeon stepped forward. You are asking us to give up our military independence and territorial sovereignty. That sounds more like surrender than integration. Young species often lack perspective on galactic security requirements, Counselor Mordak said dismissively. These measures are temporary until humanity demonstrates sufficient maturity for full membership. Engineer. Kim Soo looked around the room at the alien faces. What happens if we refuse these requirements? The council members exchanged glances that confirmed Kang Day's worst fears. Counselor Thekmar spoke with barely concealed hostility. The Galactic Stability Agreement authorizes the use of necessary force against civilizations that threaten galactic peace through aggressive expansion or excessive military development. You are threatening war against humanity because we have been too successful, Kang Day said quietly. We are preventing war by containing a potentially destabilizing force, High Arbiter Quindal corrected. History shows that rapid expansion and military buildup lead to galactic conflict. We have maintained peace for 3 millennia through careful management of such situations. Commander Lee Tae had been studying the alien security formations around the chamber. How long do we have to consider your offer? This is not a negotiation, Vextar stated. You have 72 hours to begin compliance with security protocols. Council forces are already moving to positions around human territory to ensure peaceful implementation. The humans were escorted back to their ship under heavy guard. As soon as they were alone, Captain Nam Hai reported what her sensors had detected. Massive fleet movement throughout the region. Over 500 council ships from multiple species converging on the Sol system. They are not taking any chances. Kang Day sent emergency messages to Earth using quantum communication arrays that the Council did not know humans possessed. Admiral Yang Jun. This is Ambassador Kang Day. The Council has revealed their true intentions. They are moving to contain humanity using military force. Recommend immediate implementation of all defensive protocols. The response came back within minutes. Message received, Ambassador. Dr. Jong-se's defensive systems are operational. General Oh-min's contingency plans are in effect. Tell the Council they are about to learn why humans are different from other species. 3 days later, the massive Council fleet arrived at the edge of the Sol system, expecting to find humanity cowering behind inadequate defenses. Instead, they discovered that the entire solar system had been transformed into a fortress. The asteroid belt had been converted into a network of automated defense platforms. Each planet's moon housed weapons systems that used principles of physics the Council had never encountered. Mars had become a massive shipyard producing human vessels at an impossible rate. Admiral Shin Kyung commanded the human defense fleet from the bridge of the battleship Incheon's Thunder. She watched the Council forces through sensors that could track individual ships across light years. All human vessels, this is Admiral Shin Kyung. The Council fleet has arrived. Remember our tactics. Stay mobile, stay unpredictable, and show them what human ingenuity can accomplish. The Council fleet moved into traditional battle formations that had served them well for thousands of years. Massive dreadnoughts led the attack with smaller support vessels providing covering fire. They expected human resistance to collapse quickly when faced with overwhelming superior technology. Instead, human ships swarmed around the alien formations like angry insects. The human vessels were smaller and appeared less powerful, but they moved in ways that defied Council understanding of space combat. They seemed to predict Council movements and appeared in unexpected locations using some form of faster-than-light travel that the aliens could not track. Dr. Zhong Sai's revolutionary defensive technologies turned traditional space warfare on its head. Human weapons passed through Council energy shields as if they did not exist. Human ships moved through space-time in ways that made them nearly impossible to target. Human defensive systems absorbed Council energy attacks and converted them into power for counterattacks. The first engagement lasted only 3 hours before Council forces found themselves retreating in confusion. They had lost over 100 ships while destroying only a handful of human vessels. Worse, the humans had captured several alien ships intact and were already studying their technology. "This is impossible," General Thokmar reported to the Council, leadership from his flagship. "Human technology violates known principles of physics. Their ships appear and disappear at will. Their weapons ignore our defensive systems." "You said human military capabilities were primitive," High Arbiter Quindal accused Counselor Vextar. "Based on their evaluation performance, they should be centuries behind our technology," Vextar replied defensively. "They must have been hiding their true capabilities." What the Council did not understand was that human defensive preparations had been based on careful study of alien technology and tactics. Engineer Kim Soo had identified the weaknesses in Council systems during her evaluation period. Commander, Li Tae had analyzed their rigid battle formations and developed countermeasures. Dr. Zhong Sei had used human understanding of quantum mechanics to create technologies that worked on entirely different principles than anything the Council knew. The human counterattack began before the Council forces could regroup. Admiral Shin Kyung's fleets did not pursue the retreating aliens directly. Instead, they appeared throughout Council territory using faster-than-light travel methods that seemed to ignore normal space-time limitations. Human ships materialized in Council systems and began broadcasting messages to the local populations. "Citizens of the galaxy, the Council has lied to you about human intentions. We come not as conquerors, but as liberators offering better technology, fairer trade, and genuine cooperation instead of suppression." The Council's member species found themselves face-to-face with humans who could provide advanced technology, medical treatments, and industrial innovations that the Council had kept from them for centuries. Many populations began questioning why their Council protectors had never offered such improvements. Captain Song Ji-won led a human task force to the Nexari system, where one of the previously contained species still survived in technological stagnation. "Nexari Confederacy, this is Captain Song Ji-won of the Human Liberation Fleet. We offer you the return of technologies that were taken from your ancestors and the chance to reclaim your place among the stars." The response was immediate and desperate. "Human ships, this is Nexari Prime. We accept your offer. We have waited 500 years for someone to challenge Council authority." Similar scenes played out across Council territory as human forces contacted suppressed populations and offered them alternatives to Council control. The rigid galactic order that had maintained stability for 3 millennia began to crack as member species realized they had choices other than submission. The Council leadership met in emergency session as reports of defections and uprisings poured in from across their territory. "The humans are not just attacking our military," Mordak reported with panic in his voice. "They are destroying the entire foundation of our authority." "How many member species have declared independence?" Quindal asked. 17 so far with more expected. The humans are offering technology and assistance that we have withheld for centuries. Our former subjects are choosing freedom over security. Counselor Zeftos, the ancient ethereal, spoke with grim resignation. "We have underestimated humanity fundamentally. They are not seeking to conquer the galaxy. They are seeking to transform it. We cannot contain a species that refuses to accept limitations." 6 months after the first battle at Sol, the Galactic Council's authority had collapsed across half the galaxy. Admiral Shin Kyung stood on the bridge of her flagship watching human construction ships building a new type of space station in what had once been neutral territory between Council and human space. "Admiral, the Krillian delegation has arrived," reported her communications officer. "General Thakmar requests permission to come aboard." "Grant permission. Escort them to conference. Room Alpha." The meeting that followed would have been impossible a year ago. General Thakmar, the proud Krillian warrior who had claimed human tactics were impossible, sat across from Shin Kyung asking for help. "My species faces rebellion on 12 colony worlds," Thakmar admitted with obvious difficulty. "The populations have seen what humans offer to former council species. They demand the same freedoms and technologies. Our military cannot suppress uprisings across so many systems simultaneously." "What do you want from humanity?" Shin Kyung asked. "Partnership. We offer to withdraw from the Council Alliance and join your Galactic Federation. In exchange, we need assistance dealing with internal conflicts and access to human innovations that can improve life for Krillian citizens." This was the conversation happening throughout the galaxy as Council authority crumbled. Species that had been loyal to the old order for centuries were discovering that humans offered something the Council never had: genuine cooperation instead of domination. President Hani Sul had been elected by Earth's population specifically to handle the galactic transition. She established her temporary capital on the new station being built at the former border between human and Council space. Representatives from dozens of species came there daily seeking admission to what humans called the Galactic Federation of Free Worlds. "The application process is simple," Hani Sul explained to another delegation of former Council species. "We require 3 commitments from member worlds. First, no suppression of technological or cultural development among your populations. Second, genuine democratic representation in all government decisions that affect multiple species. Third, mutual assistance and fair trade with all Federation members." The delegate from the Nexari Confederacy asked the question that many species were thinking. What prevents the Federation from becoming another controlling empire like the Council? Dr. Ryu. Mino stepped forward to answer. He had become the Federation's chief philosopher, developing the ethical framework for interspecies cooperation. Human history teaches us that power corrupts when it becomes concentrated and permanent. The Federation government rotates leadership between member species every 5 years. No single species can maintain control indefinitely. Also, Hani Sol added, any member world can withdraw from the Federation at any time with no penalties or restrictions. We believe cooperation must be voluntary to be genuine. This approach was revolutionary in galactic politics. The Council had maintained order through fear and control. The Federation offered genuine choice and mutual respect. Species joined because membership improved their lives, not because they feared the consequences of independence. Meanwhile, the remaining Council forces were making their final stand around Harmony's reach. High Arbiter Quindal had gathered the last loyal fleets from 6 species in a desperate attempt to maintain their ancient authority. "We cannot allow this human infection to spread further," Quindal declared, during what would be the final Council meeting. 3,000 years of galactic stability cannot be destroyed by one aggressive species. Councillor Vextar looked exhausted and defeated. "Half our member species have joined the Human Federation. Our military strength is reduced to a fraction of what it was 6 months ago. We cannot win a direct confrontation with humanity. Then we will destroy the humans through other methods," Councillor Thekmar said with desperate anger. "Biological weapons, cyber attacks, assassination of their leadership. Whatever is necessary to preserve galactic order." Councillor Zeftos, the ancient ethereal who had witnessed the rise and fall of countless civilizations, spoke with quiet wisdom. "We have already lost. The humans have proven that our way was not the only way to maintain galactic peace. Perhaps it was not even the best way." "You would surrender to these upstart primitives?" Thekmar demanded. "I would recognize reality. Humanity has accomplished something we thought impossible. They have created genuine cooperation between dozens of different species without using force or coercion. They have brought prosperity and advancement to worlds that we kept stagnant for centuries. They have shown that diversity and innovation create strength rather than chaos." The debate continued for hours, but the outcome was inevitable. The Council could not fight the combined forces of humanity and their growing alliance of free worlds. More importantly, they could not fight the idea that species should be free to determine their own destinies. The final battle never came. As human and allied fleets approached Harmony's Reach expecting massive resistance, they found instead a single ship carrying a delegation of former council leaders. High Arbiter Quindal himself came aboard Admiral Shin Kyung's flagship to negotiate. The end of the Galactic Council. "We offer unconditional surrender," Quindal announced with dignified resignation. "The Council formally dissolves its authority and releases all member species from their obligations. We ask only for safe passage to worlds where we can live peacefully without the burden of ruling others." President Hani Sol arrived from the Federation capital to handle the transition personally. The Federation offers amnesty to all former Council leaders who commit to peaceful retirement. We also offer membership to any Council species that wishes to join our alliance under the same terms as everyone else. The transformation ceremony took place on the new Federation station that had been completed just in time for the historic moment. Representatives from over 40 species gathered to witness the birth of a new galactic order based on cooperation rather than control. Ambassador Kang Day stood with the other human delegates watching as species after species formally joined the Federation. "Did you ever imagine it would happen this quickly when we first arrived at Harmony's Reach?" Dr. Choi Yeon shook her head in amazement. "The Council maintained power for 3 millennia. We changed everything in less than a year." "We did not change everything," Engineer Kim Soo corrected them. "We just gave everyone the chance to change themselves. The desire for freedom and progress was always there. The Council suppressed it, but humanity showed it was possible to break free." Commander Lee Tae watched the ceremony with satisfaction. The Council made the same mistake that many opponents have made throughout human history. They assumed that superior technology and overwhelming force would be enough to defeat us. They never understood that humans become most dangerous when we are told something is impossible. Captain Nam Hai joined them from where she had been talking with alien ship captains. The former Council species are already sharing technologies and innovations that were forbidden under the old system. The Nexari have developed new, faster-than-light drives. The Zaltharanes have created medical treatments that can extend lifespans for all species. The Krillians are building defensive systems that make warfare almost impossible. That is the real victory, Dr. Ryu Minho observed. Not that humanity defeated the Council, but that dozens of species are now free to reach their full potential. The galaxy will advance further in the next century than it did in the previous 3 millennia. The ceremony concluded with President Han Il-sol speaking to representatives from across the galaxy. "Today we establish a new form of galactic civilization, based on 3 principles that humanity has learned through our own difficult history. First, that diversity creates strength when different perspectives work together toward common goals. Second, that freedom and progress cannot be separated because innovation requires the liberty to think differently. Third, that true security comes not from controlling others, but from building relationships based on mutual respect and shared benefits." High Arbiter Quindal sat in the audience listening to words that would have been considered dangerous heresy under Council rule. After the ceremony ended, he approached President Han Il-sol privately. "I spent 3,000 years believing that order required control and that progress led to chaos," he said quietly. "Humanity has proven that belief wrong. You have created something better than what we built." "We created something different," Han Il-sol replied. "Whether it is better will depend on how well we maintain the principles that founded it. Humans know from our own history that even the best systems can become corrupt if people stop protecting the values they were built on." As the delegates dispersed to their homeworlds to begin implementing Federation policies, the humans gathered for their own private celebration. They had succeeded beyond their wildest dreams, not just in gaining acceptance into galactic civilization, but in transforming it entirely. "So what happens now?" Captain Baywan asked. "We have achieved everything we set out to accomplish." Ambassador Kang Dae looked out at the stars visible through the station's observation windows. "Now we prove that the system we built can actually work. Creating a galactic federation was the easy part.